The only constant in life is change. In the face of change, true peace comes not from resisting, but from embracing it with an open heart. Welcome to today's episode, where we'll dive deep into the profound wisdom of Buddhism and explore how these teachings can help us navigate life's inevitable changes, nurture compassion, and ultimately find peace in our lives. Change is a universal experience, and how we respond to it can greatly influence our sense of peace and happiness. In Buddhist philosophy, change is not something to fear or resist, but to accept with awareness and grace. Whether we're dealing with the loss of a loved one, a shift in our career, or simply the natural progression of aging, the Buddhist teachings offer us a unique perspective on how to remain grounded and at peace, even when the world around us seems to be shifting. In today's podcast, we'll explore 3 key areas of Buddhist practice that can help us in our journey through change: embracing impermanence, cultivating compassion, and the cultivation of inner peace through mindfulness. Through these timeless teachings, we'll uncover how we can live with greater awareness, compassion, and equanimity in a world that's constantly in flux. So, sit back, relax, and let's explore how the wisdom of the Buddha can guide us towards a life of more peace, less suffering, and a deeper understanding of the world around us. Part 1. The impermanence of reality and embracing change. Everything that has a beginning has an end. This simple but powerful truth is one of the core teachings of Buddhism. It reminds us that all things are in a constant state of change, and nothing in life is permanent. But instead of seeing this as something to fear, the Buddha saw it as an opportunity for liberation. It's this understanding of impermanence that unlocks the door to true inner freedom and peace. In Buddhism, impermanence, or anicca in Pali, is not just a philosophical concept. It's a reality that shapes everything we experience: our emotions, our relationships, our bodies, and even the world around us. Everything is constantly changing. The breath we take now will never be the same again. The thoughts we hold in our mind are fleeting. The people we love and the places we visit are all changing, moment by moment. And while this may seem unsettling at first, it is this very change that offers us the key to letting go of suffering, the nature of impermanence. The Buddha teaches that everything is subject to impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. In his teachings, he speaks of the fleeting nature of life and reminds us that the attachment to the idea of permanence is the root of our suffering. When we cling to something, whether it's a memory, a person, or even a feeling, we resist the natural flow of life. And in that resistance, we create pain for ourselves. Consider your own life. Can you recall a time when something you thought would never change did just that? Maybe a relationship ended, your job shifted, or your health fluctuated. Each of us experiences these moments, and while they may cause us discomfort, they also reveal a deeper truth. Nothing is ever truly static. Change is a constant, and that's okay. It's natural. It's part of the cycle of life. Accepting change and letting go of attachment. So how do we begin to accept this reality of impermanence in a way that doesn't overwhelm us? How can we face life's changes without fear or resistance? The first step is to practice acceptance. Rather than holding tightly to the past, wishing for things to stay the same, or lamenting the way things were, we must allow ourselves to embrace the present moment. The Buddha taught us that attachment to the past only leads to sorrow, and anxiety about the future only causes stress. The true peace lies in being present, right here, right now. When we stop holding on to old memories, old identities, or old outcomes, we free ourselves to experience life as it is, not as we wish it to be. We stop trying to control everything, and in doing so, we create space for deeper peace and fulfillment. This doesn't mean that we become passive or indifferent. It means we live with an open heart, ready to experience whatever life brings without resistance. The connection between impermanence and inner freedom. The more we learn to accept impermanence, the more we realize that it is actually the source of our inner freedom. When we no longer feel the need to control or hold on to things, we become liberated from the grip of fear, anxiety, and attachment. Think of it this way. When we try to hold on to something, whether it's a material possession, a relationship, or even a moment in time, we unknowingly create tension. That tension creates a feeling of bondage, as if we're stuck in a place that no longer serves us. But when we allow ourselves to release that attachment, when we let go, we find a sense of ease. We open ourselves to the flow of life. And in that flow, there is peace. There is freedom. And this is the connection between impermanence and inner freedom. By understanding that nothing lasts forever, we can stop chasing after things that we can't hold on to and start embracing the beauty of each moment as it comes. When we accept that change is inevitable, that nothing in this life stays the same forever, we free ourselves from the constant struggle to maintain a sense of control. And in that freedom, we find peace. We find joy in the present moment, because we're no longer burdened by attachments to the past or worries about the future. Embracing impermanence helps us live with an open heart and mind. We can flow with life, knowing that everything, both the joys and the sorrows, is part of the beautiful, ever-changing journey. This is the essence of peace in Buddhist philosophy. In the next part, we'll delve into how cultivating compassion can help us connect more deeply with others and ourselves, helping us live with more kindness and understanding. Stay with us as we explore the power of compassion on our path to inner peace. Part 2. Compassion, the source of true happiness. Compassion is the wish for all beings to be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. This is one of the most profound teachings of the Buddha. In Buddhism, compassion isn't just an emotion we feel from time to time. It's a deep, transformative action that flows from understanding the inherent suffering of all beings, including ourselves. It's not just a feeling of sympathy, but a conscious choice to act with kindness, empathy, and love. Compassion is not just a feeling, but an action. At its core, compassion is rooted in awareness and understanding. It's the recognition that everyone, without exception, experiences pain, confusion, and suffering in their lives. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, the fear of failure, or the burdens of daily stress, we all face challenges. And in these moments, it's easy to forget that everyone around us is struggling with something. But the Buddha teaches us that to truly cultivate compassion, we must first understand that suffering is a universal part of the human experience. It's not about feeling sorry for others, but about acknowledging the shared nature of pain and extending love and kindness to alleviate it. Compassion is an active force, something we must practice not just in times of need, but in our everyday interactions with the world. So how do we cultivate compassion in our lives? The first step is to connect deeply with the suffering of others, but also with our own. We can't offer genuine compassion to others unless we can first be compassionate with ourselves. After all, how can we give something we don't have? Developing compassion through life's challenges. Life is filled with challenges, and it's through these very challenges that our capacity for compassion can grow. Think about a difficult time you've gone through. Maybe it was a personal loss, a financial struggle, or a health issue. During those times, it's easy to become absorbed in our own pain and forget the suffering of others. However, the Buddha teaches that it's precisely in these moments of difficulty that we have the greatest opportunity to develop compassion. When we are able to face our own suffering with kindness and understanding, we naturally extend that same compassion to others who are experiencing their own pain. For example, when we are suffering, it can sometimes feel isolating, like we're the only ones going through something difficult. But when we remember that others, too, are experiencing their own struggles, we can shift our perspective. Instead of focusing solely on our own pain, we can look outwards and offer understanding, kindness, and support to those around us. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to deepen our compassion. And the more we practice compassion, the more it becomes a natural response to the world around us. Compassion for ourselves and others. In Buddhism, compassion isn't just directed outward. The Buddha emphasized that we must first cultivate self-compassion. For without love and care for ourselves, it's difficult to extend that same kindness to others. This may seem counterintuitive at first. After all, isn't compassion about others? But in reality, without self-compassion, we may find ourselves depleted, unable to offer true kindness. Self-compassion is not about being selfish or indulgent. It's about being gentle with ourselves. forgiving our mistakes, and accepting that we, too, are deserving of love and understanding. When we practice self-compassion, we become more resilient and better able to face life's challenges with grace. And as we heal ourselves, we can offer that same healing to others, creating a ripple effect of kindness and understanding, turning compassion into strength. Compassion is not a weakness, it is a profound source of strength. It requires courage to face the suffering of others without turning away, and it requires deep strength to care for others while still taking care of ourselves. It's through compassion that we learn to be resilient, to face hardship with an open heart, and to grow stronger through our connections with others. The Buddha taught that true happiness arises from the act of giving our love, our time, our support, and our understanding. And as we give, we too receive. When we act with compassion, we nourish our own hearts. We feel a sense of purpose, of connection, and of inner peace. By caring for others, we find that we are not isolated in our suffering, but connected to the broader web of life. One of the most powerful practices to cultivate compassion is loving kindness meditation. In this practice, we first offer compassion to ourselves, and then extend it outward, first to loved ones, then to strangers, and eventually to all beings. Without exception, this practice can transform our hearts and minds, helping us to see the world through the lens of love rather than fear. Compassion is the antidote to suffering. It's the source of true happiness. When we act with compassion, we transform not only the lives of others, but our own as well. By developing compassion through our own struggles, by nurturing compassion for ourselves, and by turning compassion into a strength that we share with the world, we create a life of deeper connection, peace, and fulfillment. In the next part, we will explore the teachings of impermanence in even greater depth, looking at how embracing the ever-changing nature of life can free us from the grip of fear and attachment. Stay tuned as we continue to unravel the path to peace through Buddhist wisdom. Part 3. Deep joy, no need to look outside. True joy is not found in external circumstances, but in the peace of our own hearts. This is one of the most profound insights in Buddhist teachings. In a world where so much of our attention is drawn to external achievements, possessions, and experiences, Buddhism invites us to look within to discover the true source of lasting joy. Joy in Buddhism, living in harmony with our true nature. At its essence, joy in Buddhism is not just about fleeting moments of happiness or excitement. It's a deeper, more abiding sense of contentment that arises when we align our lives with our true nature. This true nature is rooted in simplicity, mindfulness, and compassion, qualities that help us cultivate peace and balance in our minds and hearts. Buddhism teaches that true joy arises from living in harmony with the present moment and our inner selves. It's not about chasing after external rewards or experiences, but about accepting ourselves as we are and living authentically. When we stop looking for happiness outside of ourselves and instead cultivate peace and contentment within, joy becomes a natural byproduct. The role of compassion, generosity, and mindfulness in cultivating joy. So, how do we cultivate this deep, lasting joy? The Buddha teaches that it is the qualities of compassion, karuna, generosity, dana, and mindfulness, sati, that help us nurture this joy. 1. Compassion, karuna, as we explored earlier. Compassion is not just about caring for others, but about cultivating a heart that is free from self-centeredness and focused on the welfare of all beings. When we practice compassion, we let go of attachment to our own desires and ego, and this frees us from the cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. Compassion opens our hearts and creates space for true joy to arise. 2. Generosity, dana. Generosity, in Buddhism, is not just about giving material things, it's about offering our time, our energy, and our love to others without expectation of anything in return. When we give from a place of genuine selflessness, we experience a deep sense of fulfillment and joy. Generosity helps us overcome the illusion of scarcity and reminds us that true happiness comes from giving, not from accumulating. 3. Mindfulness, sati. Mindfulness, or the practice of being fully present in the moment, is another key to cultivating joy. When we are truly present, we experience life as it is, without the distractions of the past or the future. Mindfulness allows us to appreciate the beauty of everyday life, from the warmth of the sun on our skin to the simple act of breathing. It's in these moments that we can access deep, lasting joy without needing to search for it in external things. Together, these practices create the conditions for joy to arise naturally. Rather than looking outside for sources of happiness, we learn to cultivate joy within, through our actions, our thoughts, and our presence in each moment, finding joy in life's simplicities. In Buddhism, joy is often found in the simplest of things. It's not in the grand achievements or material successes, but in the everyday moments that we often overlook. The Buddha encourages us to cultivate an attitude of gratitude for these simple things, whether it's the taste of a warm meal, the sound of a bird singing, or the smile of a loved one. One powerful practice for finding joy in the simple things is gratitude meditation. In this practice, we reflect on the blessings we have in our lives, no matter how small they may seem. By focusing on the positive aspects of our lives, we train our minds to notice the beauty and joy that is always present, even in the midst of our daily routines. When we adopt this mindset, we begin to see that joy is not something we need to pursue. It is already here, in the very fabric of our daily lives. Whether it's the warmth of a cup of tea in the morning or the quiet stillness of a moment of reflection, joy is waiting for us to notice it. Letting go of external expectations. Another key aspect of finding deep joy is letting go of our attachment to external expectations. In the modern world, we are often taught that joy comes from achieving certain goals, whether it's getting the perfect job, accumulating wealth, or experiencing adventure and excitement. But Buddhism teaches us that this kind of joy is fleeting and unreliable. True joy, according to the Buddha, is not dependent on achieving external goals. It comes from letting go of our attachment to the idea that we need certain things or experiences to be happy. When we release these attachments and expectations, we make space for the deeper, more stable joy that arises from simply being. The joy of acceptance. One of the most transformative aspects of Buddhist teachings is the idea of accepting things as they are. This doesn't mean resigning ourselves to suffering or complacency, but rather, it's an invitation to embrace life with an open heart, free from judgment and resistance. When we accept ourselves, others, and life as they are, without clinging to how we think things should be, we unlock a deep sense of peace and joy. This joy is not based on any condition, because it is rooted in our ability to accept the impermanence and ever-changing nature of life. It's a joy that is not tied to any specific outcome, but to the simple, profound experience of being alive. True joy, as taught in Buddhism, is not found in external circumstances, but in our ability to live authentically and to appreciate the present moment. It is cultivated through practices like compassion, generosity, and mindfulness, and it thrives in the simplicity of life's everyday moments. By letting go of the need for external validation and expectations, we open ourselves to a deeper, more lasting joy that arises naturally from within. In the next part, we will explore the transformative power of mindfulness meditation in greater detail, and how it can help us cultivate joy, peace, and clarity in our lives. Stay with us as we continue this journey into the heart of Buddhist wisdom. Part 4. Mindfulness and Awareness in Daily Life. Mindfulness is the path to the deathless. The unmindful are as if dead. These words from the Buddha remind us of the immense power that mindfulness has in transforming our lives. In a world that moves faster and faster, mindfulness becomes a tool not only for overcoming suffering, but for leading a life of clarity, peace, and presence. What is mindfulness? And why is it essential for overcoming suffering? Mindfulness, or sati, is the practice of being fully aware and present in each moment. It's the art of observing your thoughts, emotions, and actions without attachment or judgment. In simple terms, mindfulness is the ability to notice what's happening right now, without being lost in past memories or future worries. In Buddhism, Mindfulness is seen as one of the key practices to overcome suffering. Why? Because much of our suffering arises from our attachment to thoughts, expectations, and desires. We dwell on the past or worry about the future, and in doing so, we create unnecessary stress and anxiety. Mindfulness offers us a way to break this cycle. By being fully present, we can stop identifying with every thought or emotion, allowing them to come and go without clinging or rejecting them. When we practice mindfulness, we create space between stimulus and response, giving ourselves the freedom to choose how to react, rather than simply reacting out of habit. This freedom allows us to break free from the habitual patterns of suffering and move toward a more peaceful and balanced life. Applying mindfulness in difficult situations. The true power of mindfulness is not just in moments of calm and peace, but in its application during the most challenging times. Life is full of difficulties, and often, when we face stress, anger, or fear, our natural reaction is to be consumed by these emotions. But mindfulness teaches us that we don't have to be slaves to our feelings. When facing a difficult situation, whether it's a heated argument, a stressful work deadline, or a personal challenge, mindfulness gives us the tools to remain grounded, rather than being overwhelmed by our emotions. We can take a step back, observe what's happening inside us, and create space for a more thoughtful and composed response. For example, when you feel the tension rising in your body during a stressful conversation, mindfulness helps you notice the sensation without immediately reacting. You might notice your breath is shallow, your heart is racing, and your body feels tense. In that moment, mindfulness invites you to pause, breathe deeply, and simply observe what's happening, rather than rushing to judgment or action. This pause, however brief, creates room for a more measured, less reactive response. This practice can significantly reduce anxiety, frustration, and other negative emotions, allowing us to navigate difficult situations with a greater sense of calm and clarity. The key is to remember that our thoughts and emotions are not permanent. They arise, stay for a while, and then fade away. By practicing mindfulness, we learn to acknowledge them without letting them define us or control our actions. Exercises and methods for practicing mindfulness every day. Now, you might be wondering, how can I incorporate mindfulness into my daily life? The beauty of mindfulness is that it doesn't require special conditions or a lot of time. It can be practiced in any moment, wherever you are. Here are a few simple practices that can help you cultivate mindfulness in your daily life. 1. Mindful breathing. This is the simplest and most accessible form of mindfulness. Just take a few moments throughout the day to focus on your breath. Notice the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body. If your mind starts to wander, gently bring it back to the breath. You can do this while sitting, walking, or even standing in line. The goal is to bring your full awareness to the present moment. 2. Body scan meditation. This practice involves mentally scanning your body from head to toe, paying attention to any areas of tension or discomfort. As you move through each part of your body, allow yourself to relax and release any tension. This helps you reconnect with your body and become more aware of your physical sensations. 3. Mindful walking. Walking is something we do every day, but we often do it automatically, without noticing the act itself. Try turning your walk into a mindful practice. Focus on the sensation of each step, the movement of your body, and the environment around you. Walking mindfully helps you stay present and brings awareness to even the most ordinary activities. 4. Mindful eating. Eating is another everyday activity that we can practice mindfulness with. Instead of rushing through meals, take your time to really savor the food. Notice the taste, texture, and smell of each bite. Eating mindfully can help you develop a greater appreciation for food and cultivate gratitude for the nourishment it provides. 5. Mindful listening. When engaging with others, try to listen fully without distractions. Give your complete attention to the person speaking, without thinking about your response while they talk. This practice not only improves your relationships, but also helps you develop the skill of being present with others in a deep and meaningful way. The transformation mindfulness brings. By integrating mindfulness into our daily lives, we begin to experience the transformative power of presence. We stop rushing through life and instead begin to savor each moment, no matter how small. Mindfulness allows us to engage with life from a place of clarity and openness, helping us to respond to the challenges we face with wisdom and compassion, rather than reacting out of habit or fear. Moreover, mindfulness provides us with a way to cultivate a peaceful mind. As we practice being present with our thoughts and feelings, we begin to recognize that they don't define us. They are simply visitors in the mind, and we have the power to choose whether we welcome them or let them pass by. This sense of inner freedom is what ultimately leads to peace and liberation. Mindfulness is the key to living a life of awareness, peace, and clarity. By practicing mindfulness in our daily life, we free ourselves from the cycle of suffering caused by our attachments and reactions, whether it's through mindful breathing, eating, or simply being present in the moment. Mindfulness allows us to fully embrace life as it is and respond to it with wisdom and compassion. As we continue this journey through Buddhist teachings, we will dive deeper into the practice of meditation and how it can further enhance our mindfulness and inner peace. Stay tuned for the next part of our discussion, where we explore the role of meditation in deepening our awareness and cultivating lasting happiness. As we come to the end of this episode, let's take a moment to reflect on the key teachings we've explored today. First, we delved into the impermanent nature of life and how embracing change can free us from the suffering of attachment. We learned that true happiness and contentment arise not from external achievements, but from the cultivation of compassion, mindfulness, and a deep connection with the present moment. We also explored the transformative power of compassion, not just for others, but for ourselves. Through acts of kindness and selfless love, we can nurture true happiness and create a harmonious world for all beings. By practicing these qualities, we discover that joy is not something to be sought, but something that arises naturally from within. And finally, we touched upon the practice of mindfulness, how it can help us navigate the challenges of life with clarity, peace, and wisdom. By integrating mindfulness into our daily lives, we open ourselves to a more peaceful and compassionate existence, grounded in the present moment. To close, I want to leave you with a beautiful teaching from the Buddha. The mind is everything. What you think you become. This teaching reminds us that our thoughts shape our reality. When we cultivate a mind of peace, compassion, and mindfulness, we create the conditions for happiness and freedom. Just as a garden flourishes with care and attention, our minds bloom when we tend to them with mindfulness and wisdom. I encourage you to continue exploring the profound wisdom of Buddhism and to begin applying these teachings in your own life. Remember, it's through small, daily actions that true transformation occurs. Whether it's embracing impermanence, practicing kindness, or simply being present in each moment, these are the seeds of peace and joy. If this episode has resonated with you, I invite you to take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. Share your thoughts with us. How are you planning to incorporate these teachings into your life? I would love to hear your reflections and continue this journey together. Thank you for listening, and may you find peace and wisdom on your path.